It's very rare for people to come to a professional unless it's a doctor and they go when they absolutely have to. Generally, you have to go to them and say, how are you? And so there's a lot of time is spent just going to people and saying, g'day, how's things going? And then you might visit 20 people, and then only one of those people will say, things are not going well. And then you go, okay, let's talk about that. So it's that being proactive, what we call loitering with intent. You got to do a lot of loitering as a service provider. To be honest, we're in a very beneficial situation at Front Services because of our funding. It comes from donations. We don't have funding quotas or people quotas that we have to meet, or contact quotas that we have to meet. So we can just go to people and loiter with them. Whereas other services who have funding, they've got these funding requirements that they have to meet, certain deadlines or meet so many amount of people. And so consequently, they don't have the opportunity just to sit and to be with people the same way as we have. They're far more task oriented. They have to go to where the problem is. But the problem is they struggle to find out where the real issues are because they're not sitting with people or not able to. I don't think it's a matter of desire. I think that they'd like to, but they're not able to just sit and spend a day like I can. I spent 3 days rebuilding this guy's gearbox on his grader, but out of that, find out the father's got depression, we're able to get him into a psychologist and a doctor, get medication, provide ongoing support for him and then the family because he's been depressed for years and caused chaos. It's all about relationships. That's the key to it. The reality is, if the old saying is true, people don't care what you know unless they know that you care, and so you have to spend that time. You deviate away from a clinical model of service provision because in a clinical model of service provision, the relationship is very professional, whereas in this model, the relationship is very friendship-based. So the service is provided in a much more subtle way. They're tough people, as long as they've still got food on the table, in some cases not much food, I can tell you that, then they'll just keep on keeping on. Like one story I heard through the sort of rumour mill about a guy who was doing it really, really tough, and I went up and visited him. He's in the southern Gulf country, and I spent some time with him and put in some troughs and a few other things. And it turns out, that he's quarantined because of bovine Johne's disease, so he can't sell his cattle. His bank is foreclosing on him. His wife has left him. He can't afford to pay the electricity. He has no fuel for his vehicle. And then when he said to me, there's always somebody worse off than me. And I didn't have the heart to tell him, no, mate, you're the worst. And he got burnt out by a bushfire. There was a point in which I had to say to him, I didn't have to, but I said to him, do you know there is a life beyond this property? Now, he could not comprehend that because it had been his life, his father's life, and his grandfather's life. So there is a whole person connection, a psychological, spiritual connection with the land. And so at the end of the day, all you can do is provide support to him and ongoing relationship, so that when it comes to the point where he's really done it tough, he knows there are people who care, So I bring those three things: farming, community work, and ministry to the game. So I carry things like fencing pliers, fencing strainers, chainsaws with me wherever I go. Because I see a fence that's broken, I stop and fix it up. What could help a lot is if, particularly people who live in urban Australia, if they can be cognizant that there's a lot of human effort and human drama occurs to get that food there. And these people experience a lot of isolation, and they have to dig deep themselves to get over their problems, to work through the challenges that are there. And so if there was just greater recognition that this is going on for your benefit, you're the end result of this. The fact that you are healthy is the result of these people putting in this hard work, suffering through drought and bushfire, and to try and get rid of that age-old illusion that somehow people on properties are wealthy because they drive new Land Cruisers and stuff like that. These people are not wealthy. You know, that Land Cruiser, you know, is a debt that they've taken on with the rest of the property debt. They need a new Land Cruiser because they're travelling, you know, 600 kilometres to the closest town. So it's just about awareness and education for the end user of the product.